Hi everybody, it's Chris from the Evermore podcast, your Newcastle United podcast on your Evermore YouTube channel. We're back with another Rumour Has It video, and for a change, it's not about players coming in, it's a rumour about players going out. So we're about to talk about one of our star players who's been caught in a bit of interest from some other Premier League teams. But just before we do, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, please consider clicking that like and subscribe button. We've had absolutely loads of subscribers since we've been doing these videos. We really appreciate it, and all the nice comments as well. We're currently sitting on about 844. Would love you to get us over 900, and the goal is to hit that 1,000 as soon as possible. So please click that button and join in for every video that we're doing over the summer before the season kicks off. Right, so without further ado, let's get stuck into it. The player I'm talking about, excuse me, if anyone hasn't seen it already, is our talented enigma French winger that is Saint-Maximin. So the 25-year-old wonder kid, if you can call him that, 25, I suppose, our kind of maestro, is massively frustrating for a lot of fans. There's no question about that. Me in particular, he winds me up sometimes. I watch him, I scream at him, I tell him to pass the ball. But when he does pass the ball, he's very good. You know, he obviously caught a little bit of controversy towards the back end of last season, saying that you'll see what I'm like when I've got better players around me. You know, some of us were a bit critical about that. Me in particular, I was very critical about that. I wasn't alone. But when Callum Wilson came back, you know, we did kind of see a little bit about what Saint-Maximin was talking about. A good striker in the middle of the box, gave him that outlet, gave him that player to aim for. And, you know, he started to put the ball across the edge of the box, and Callum Wilson started to smash them back in. So maybe there was a little bit of truth in what he said, but it was just a bit questionable about how he said it. But, you know, we love him at the club. You know, War Flags had a massive display for him in the Gallagher end. You know, I don't think any other team in the world would give him that, would put up with him, with all the frustrating times that he's had and some of the questionable comments in those interviews. But apparently he's been caught in some interest for Antonio Conte's Spurs. And there's rumours that the manager of football, as they're called, these positions, as we've got Dan Ashworth now, who's sporting director. The manager of football at Spurs is a guy called, I think it's Fabio Paratici, and he's very keen on Saint-Maximin. So the rumour goes that it's a £50 million bid is what it would take for Newcastle to entertain selling Saint-Maximin. And, Spurs have been busy in the summer. They've already signed, Perisic, who's a great signing. You know, the story goes that he might even play as a kind of a wing-back type position. He's a very, very talented player, can play further up, can defend as well. Pretty much an all-rounder. But, you know, there's talk about them bringing an ex-Newcastle goalkeeper, Fraser Forster, as the number 2 to Hugo Lloris. Which again, I'll give them good backup options now they're back in the Champions League, you know. But Saint-Maximin's an interesting one for them because they've got Harry Kane, they've got Son, who are their main, key players as well. You know, they had a couple of fantastic loan deals as well, last season. In terms of players that were providing them goals as well. Kilisovsky, so I was trying to pronounce the name there, Kilisovsky, in particular, who was fantastic when he came in, just took to the league straight away, created loads, scored loads as well. So Maximin could be an interesting purchase for them. I think he's very frustrating. I think I'm not sure Spurs would be the right club for him right now, I'll be honest with you. I think, potentially you see the likes of these kind of players, a bit like your Wilf Zaha's when he went to Manchester United, a bit like your Yannick Bolassis when he went to Everton. Don't get me wrong, I think Saint-Maximin's better than Balassi, but he's probably on par with Zaha, to be fair. And I think Zaha saw when he went to Manchester United, he was very young when he did it. It didn't quite work out. He didn't get away with half the stuff that he got away with Palace. He didn't get that kind of, that allowance, that kind of patience from the fans, and I think he would struggle at Spurs. I know we've had players who've gone that similar path. Gaza way back when, and obviously David Ginola. Arguably, Spurs saw the best of him in English football, over what we did at Newcastle. But I'm just not sure that would be a good move for Saint-Maximin at this time of his career. But you know what? If he wants the move, he wants Champions League football, is how the story goes. If he's not willing to wait for Newcastle and the project to get there, and he's willing to go, and Spurs are going to give us 50 million quid, which I don't think we'll get for the lad. I really don't. But if Spurs are going to give us 50 million quid, and more importantly, is if we can sign a better replacement, talk about most of the RB and players like that coming in. There's also links to, Nabil Fekir as well. So there's a lot of good players being talented. Paqueta, if you can start loading the squad with those types of players, maybe you can afford to let Saint-Maximin go. I'm not saying let's get rid of him, because I think he is an extremely talented footballer, and when he's at it, when he's on it, he's one of the best in the league. I'm not going to, buy into these weird stats of successful dribbles, because I think they're very smoke and mirror stats. There's no question when Saint-Maximin gets the ball, he runs with people. He's absolutely fantastic, but he has more off games than he does on games throughout a footballing season. But if he thinks that moving to Spurs is the right time in his career to step up that level and play Champions League football right now, rather than waiting for Newcastle maybe in 2 or 3 years' time to get there, I think if we build well in the summer, I think we could possibly get in the Europa Cup positions, Europa League positions towards the back end of next season. I really believe that. So if Saint-Maximin wants to stick around and play European football with Newcastle United and see a European night at St James's Park as a Newcastle player, then stay next season and see the project through. But if he's getting itchy feet and he wants to move on, and Spurs are willing to pay that money, which is the most important thing, then we could see him head down to London. And obviously for Spurs, that would give them a chance to push Harry Kane a bit further up the park and maybe take a bit of that pressure off him creating goals and maybe just concentrate on scoring goals. But it's definitely one to watch. There's no smoke without fire. There seems to be a lot of newspaper outlets reporting it. There seems to be a lot of talk about it on social media. I'm not sure if Saint-Maximin does want to go. It all just depends on where he thinks he's at in his career right now. Does he think he's too good for Newcastle? Does he think that he needs to move on? I personally don't think that he is. I think he's probably at the right club right now to get the best out of him. But, we spoke about it before. Is he an Eddie Howe player? Will he put in the graft like Eddie Howe asks him to do? He has done that, to his credit. He's improved a bit, even since that interview. I think he started to look up and get the ball across the box a bit more, even for Chris Wood, who fluffed headers left, right and centre in the last few games of the season. But, if Saint-Maximin can have a good pre-season and come back strong next season and, and try and play a run of games injury-free with a really good centre-forward to feed, then he could, potentially fill that potential of being the player that he is. But it remains to be seen, if Spurs are keen on it and they push the button on this deal, then they might get aggressive with it. Daniel Levy seems to have handed the transfer responsibilities over to Conte, and obviously his backroom staff as well. And I think we'll see what happens with it kind of as the weeks progress, So obviously Nevermore, we are looking at players coming in, but we're certainly going to be trying to cover some of the rumours of players going out as well. So make sure you stick with the channel. As I mentioned before, please click that like and subscribe button. And it'll give you a notification as well if you hit that bell every time we have a video coming out. We're going to be back on Wednesday with hopefully a new show for you guys, which is a top 10 show, a little bit of a take on the match of the day style, but Newcastle players over the years. So definitely tune in for that. Should be a great crack. But until then, this is Chris from Evermore signing off. Let's keep supporting the team we'll call United, and let's see what happens around Saint-Maximin in the weeks to come. Cheers, guys.